My grandmother presented me with an extraordinary proposition: inherit her empire worth billions, but only if I married one of 3 women she'd chosen. The first option, Elena Cross, Manhattan's most ruthless investment banker, slid a prenuptial agreement across the table within minutes of our introduction, coldly informing me that her fortune was off-limits. The second, Sienna Blake, a chart-topping singer with platinum records lining her walls, had her manager relay that while she'd accept the arrangement for family harmony, ours would be a marriage on paper only, her affections lay elsewhere. Then there was Maya Chen, the gentle girl from my childhood who'd always been a quiet presence in my life. She looked at me with nervous anticipation and asked softly, "Ryan, would this be something you'd want?" I reached for her hand without a second thought. Everyone assumed I was destitute, surviving on family charity. They had no idea I didn't need a strategic alliance or a power marriage. I needed authenticity. As for wealth, mine exceeded theirs by magnitudes they couldn't fathom. "Ryan, the decision is yours." In a private wing of Presbyterian Hospital, my grandmother, Margaret Hale, reclined against pristine pillows, her breathing assisted by medical equipment. Though her body had weakened, her mind remained razor-sharp. She gestured toward 3 young women arranged near her bedside. Elena Cross just returned from her position at Goldman Sachs. Brilliant mind, though rather abrasive. Elena, immaculate in designer business attire, studied me through frameless spectacles like I was an underperforming investment requiring liquidation. Then we have Sienna Blake. You're familiar with her work: 30 million social media followers, considerable cultural impact. Sienna maintained her distance, oversized sunglasses firmly in place despite being indoors, projecting an aura of calculated inaccessibility. Finally, your second cousin Maya Chen. Recent college graduate, somewhat directionless, but possesses genuine kindness. Maya stood apart from the others, fidgeting with the fabric of her cotton dress, unable to meet anyone's gaze directly. Grandmother Margaret drew a careful breath before continuing. The Hale fortune cannot transfer to outsiders. Select your bride from these 3, and the inheritance becomes yours. Her words detonated like explosives in the hushed room. Elena and Sienna's expressions transformed instantly. They'd made their contempt clear from the start. I was the family embarrassment, an orphan raised in upstate obscurity, surviving on minimal family support through university. To them, I represented everything they'd worked to escape. Marriage to me would be social suicide. Elena moved first, extracting documents from her leather portfolio and placing them before me with clinical precision. Standard prenuptial contract. Review and sign. Her tone could have frozen mercury. Clause 1, complete financial separation. You have no access to my assets. Clause 2, this marriage exists in name exclusively. No interference in personal matters. Clause 3, publicly, you're joining the Cross family dynasty. I'm not adopting your surname. Clause 4. With each stipulation, her disdain intensified. She regarded me as something distasteful she'd discovered on her shoe. Before I could respond, Sienna removed her sunglasses, revealing flawless features devoid of warmth. She addressed her assistant rather than acknowledging me directly. "Rachel, explain the terms." The woman named Rachel stepped forward with businesslike efficiency. "Mr. Hale, Sienna agrees to this arrangement solely as a favor to Mrs. Hale. However, understand this is purely transactional. She maintains complete romantic freedom. Don't develop unrealistic expectations, and absolutely no media disclosure, it would damage her brand irreparably." She added, "Naturally, we'll provide adequate financial compensation for your cooperation." I couldn't suppress my laughter. One feared I'd drain her bank accounts. The other worried I'd tarnish her celebrity status. Did they genuinely believe the world revolved around them? My amusement shattered their superiority. "What's amusing?" Elena's expression hardened. "You imagine you have negotiating power here?" "Ryan, don't be foolish," Sienna snapped. "Marrying either of us is the opportunity of your lifetime." "Opportunity of my lifetime?" I shook my head, exhausted by their arrogance. My attention shifted past them toward the girl who'd remained silent throughout. "Maya," I said gently. She startled, looking up with wide, uncertain eyes, like a forest creature caught in unexpected light. I approached her slowly, maintaining eye contact. "If I chose you, would that be acceptable?" Complete silence descended. Elena and Sienna appeared genuinely shocked, as though witnessing something absurd. Everyone had assumed I'd pursue one of the obviously valuable options. Nobody expected me to select Maya, the candidate with zero perceived worth. Maya stood frozen, processing my question. Several seconds passed before comprehension dawned, and her cheeks flushed deep crimson. She twisted her fingers together nervously, her voice barely audible. Ryan, I would accept that. I smiled, reaching for a slightly trembling hand. Turning back toward Elena and Sienna's horrified expressions, I addressed my grandmother with calm certainty. Grandmother, I've decided. Maya and I will marry. The reactions were spectacular, shock rapidly morphing into ridicule. Ryan, have you lost your mind? Elena's composure cracked completely. You're declining me for someone with absolutely nothing. She's wearing discount store clothing. Can you even introduce her in professional settings? She's a liability. Sienna crossed her arms dismissively. I thought you had backbone, but you're just seeking someone manageable. Classic insecurity. Pathetic. Their words cut like razors. Maya's face drained of color as she attempted to withdraw her hand, trembling visibly. I tightened my grip, gently positioning her behind me protectively. I regarded Elena and Sienna with flat, emotionless eyes. Finished. My quiet tone carried an unexpected weight that silenced them immediately. Elena choked on her retort, then flushed with anger. Ryan, mind your tone. Regardless of this marriage, I remain your superior in this family. Remember your position. My position. I scoffed. My position exists somewhere you'd require telescopes to glimpse. Elena gasped audibly. I shifted my attention to Sienna. Fake marriage arrangements don't interest me. Your fame means nothing to me. Without your fans, you're nobody. Don't flatter yourself. Sienna went pale. She wasn't accustomed to dismissal. Fine. Perfect, she laughed bitterly. You've got nerve, Ryan. I'm curious how long before you're begging us for help. You'll regret this decision, Victoria added coldly. They gathered their belongings and stormed out, the door slamming behind them. The room finally quieted. I felt the girl behind me shaking. Turning, I found her head bowed, tears pooling in her eyes despite her efforts to contain them. What's wrong? I softened my voice considerably. Ryan, she looked up, a tear escaping down her cheek. Am I worthless? They're right, I can't contribute anything. Seeing her distress broke something in me. I reached out, wiping away the tear with my thumb. Foolish girl. Who said you're worthless? I didn't need their money or their fame. I looked into her eyes steadily. I need someone who'll hand me water when I'm exhausted and leave lights on when I return home late. They can't provide that. You can. Maya's tears flowed harder, but now from relief. She managed to choke out, why? Why choose me? Why? Because in my previous existence, when the family abandoned me and circumstances crushed me, this girl secretly gave me her life savings, crying as she said, Ryan, take this. If it's insufficient, I'll find more somehow. When loan sharks shattered my legs and I lay in a hospital bed like something dying, she alone cared for me constantly, cleaning, feeding, never complaining despite the burden. Elena and Sienna. One published newspaper announcements disowning me to protect her assets. The other publicly denounced me to preserve her reputation from association with poverty. Given a second chance at life, how could I possibly make the wrong choice again? I looked at the weeping girl before me, my heart softening completely. This time, I'll protect you. I didn't answer her question verbally. Instead, I led her to the bedside and addressed my grandmother, who'd been observing with a knowing smile. Grandmother, when can we obtain the marriage license? Grandmother Margaret proved efficient. The following morning, as City Hall opened, Maya and I were first in line. Holding our marriage certificate, Maya appeared dazed, almost dreamlike. Ryan, are we actually married? She traced our photo on the document, our heads leaning together, both smiling. Absolutely real, Mrs. Hale, I teased. You can call me husband now. Who's calling you that? Maya's face turned scarlet. Her voice was barely audible, but the word tasted sweet to me. We exited City Hall to find a black Bentley Continental idling at the curb. The rear door opened, and an older gentleman in an impeccable suit emerged, bowing respectfully. "Young master, Mrs. Hale sent me to collect you and the young madam." Maya jumped, clutching my sleeve. She'd never witnessed anything like this. I patted her hand reassuringly. "Don't worry. This is Thomas, the family driver." I guided her into the vehicle. The interior was luxurious, leather seats, polished wood trim, and carpet softer than clouds. Maya sat rigidly, afraid to disturb anything. "Ryan, where are we going?" "Home," I said simply. "Our home." The Bentley glided through the city, eventually ascending into the exclusive Riverside Heights development. Every estate here commanded 8-figure prices, with security rivaling government facilities. When we approached the largest property, a contemporary mansion resembling a modern palace, Maya's eyes widened dramatically. This is where we're living." I helped her exit. Thomas had already opened the ornate gates. Before us stretched immaculate gardens, water features, and a residence dominating the landscape. Dozens of staff lined the pathway, bowing in unison. "Welcome home, sir." "Welcome home, madam." The coordinated greeting overwhelmed Maya completely. She squeezed my hand, trembling. "Ryan, did grandmother give us this?" She assumed this was part of the inheritance. I smiled without correcting her. In truth, Riverside Heights was mine. The world believed I was a struggling family relation. They didn't know that after leaving home at 18, I hadn't merely survived, I'd thrived spectacularly. Using a small inheritance from my mother as seed capital, I built Apex Corporation, a global conglomerate spanning finance, technology, and security. My assets dwarfed the Hale family fortune exponentially. I was Ryan Hale, codename Titan, the man positioned at the apex of global power structures. I maintained my hidden identity per agreement with grandmother. I wasn't ready to tell Maya yet. I didn't want to frighten her. I simply wanted her to enjoy the life I was creating for her. "Let's go inside." I led her into the foyer. The interior was architectural perfection. Maya looked around like someone exploring a fantasy realm, curious but cautious. I took her to the master suite on the second floor. It was expansive, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the valley. In the center stood a bed large enough for a small family. Seeing the bed, Maya turned crimson again. "Married couples, does that mean tonight we?" She looked adorable in her panic. I walked up behind her, wrapping my arms around her waist, whispering near her ear, "Wife, do you like our room?" She stiffened, turning a lovely shade of pink from neck to hairline. I like it," she managed. I chuckled, turning her to face me. She immediately looked down, lashes fluttering nervously. "What's wrong?" "Worried I'll devour you." I tilted her chin up gently. Her eyes were watery, filled with shyness. It stirred something protective in me. "Easy," I told myself. "Don't rush." I stepped back, smoothing her hair. "I'm teasing. It's been a long day. Take a shower and change. There are clothes in the walk-in closet prepared for you." "Okay." Maya disappeared into the bathroom like a startled deer. Hearing the water start, I smiled. Then I walked to the window and made a call. Lord Titan, the voice on the other end was cold and respectful, my right-hand operative, codename Shadow. "Run complete background checks on Elena Cross and Sienna Blake," I said, my voice dropping to its usual command tone. "Especially their funding sources and business connections. I want everything." "Understood." I hung up, eyes hardening. "Elena, Sienna, did you really believe I was defenseless? The debts from my past life, the insults from this one, I'm collecting on everything. You look down on me. You look down on Maya. I'm going to show you the true meaning of consequences." My personal phone rang. Unknown local number. "Is this Ryan Hale?" A rough male voice demanded. "Speaking." "Ryan, it's your Uncle David Chen. Where are you?" "Your Aunt Linda, your cousin Brandon, and I are at the Riverside Heights gate. Come get us immediately." Uncle David, Maya's father. In my previous life, this family made our existence miserable. Insufferable snobs. When they discovered Maya wanted to marry me, the penniless relative, they nearly disowned her. Now that we had the certificate, they were at my door. They weren't here to celebrate. They were here to create problems. I smirked. How did you locate this address? Doesn't matter, David snapped. Get out here. Security won't let us enter. Arrogant people. I told them I'm your father-in-law, and they didn't believe me. Hurry up. Commanding me like he owned me. I don't have time. I disconnected. You wanted access to my house. You have to earn it. Outside the gate, David stared at his phone in disbelief. He hung up on me. His face turned purple with rage. The audacity. That Ryan, a charity case son-in-law, giving me attitude. Beside him, Aunt Linda, wearing excessive costume jewelry, shrieked, exactly. Who does he think he is? If it wasn't for the Hale inheritance, would Maya even glance at him? Their son Brandon kicked a decorative stone planter. Mom, Dad, why waste energy on that loser? Call Maya. Tell her to get out here. If she doesn't listen, I'll make her regret it when she gets home. David nodded and dialed his daughter. Maya, you have some nerve getting married without informing your family. Do I even exist to you? David started screaming immediately. Maya had just emerged from the bathroom wearing a silk nightgown I'd prepared. She sat nervously on the bed's edge, hearing her father's rage. She flinched, her face draining of color. Dad, Don't dad at me. Where's your worthless husband? Tell him to get out here immediately. We're at the gate. If he doesn't come out, neither of you is ever welcome in the Chin house again. Dad, please don't be angry. I took the phone from her trembling hand. Hello. My voice was absolute zero. David paused, then doubled down. Ryan, you little punk. Finally grew some backbone to answer. I'm telling you, get out here or else I'll. Or else what? I interrupted, amused. Break my legs. Ban me from your house. I laughed darkly. Do you genuinely believe I care about your house? You, David sputtered. He hadn't expected the submissive boy he remembered to talk back. Fine. Got it. Just wait. I'm calling Mrs. Hale right now. I'll tell Margaret what kind of ungrateful trash you are. Let's see if you get that inheritance then. Frank slammed the phone down and started scrolling for Grandma's number. I stared at the phone. Call grandmother. You think she's on your side? Please do. I looked at Maya. She was watching me with red-rimmed eyes. Ryan, I'm sorry. My father. Not your fault. I pulled her into an embrace. Don't be frightened. I'll handle this. She buried her face against my chest. Will they really call grandmother? Let them. I smiled. They'll learn an important lesson. My other phone buzzed. A text from Shadow, Lord Titan. Complete dossiers on Elena Cross and Sienna Blake sent to your encrypted server. Additional intelligence indicates Elena's firm, Cross Capital, is bidding on the Waterfront District Development Project. Sienna's backer, Marcus Sterling of Horizon Media, is also bidding. My eyes narrowed. Interesting. My team acquired that property 4 days ago. Looks like we have a situation developing. The following day, a bombshell hit the New York business community. The multi-billion-dollar Waterfront District project had been acquired by an unknown international entity, Apex Corporation. Everyone was shocked, especially Cross Capital and Horizon Media. In her high-rise office, Elena Cross stared at the news, furious. Apex Corporation. Who are they? She slammed a file on her desk. Find out. I want to know who dared to steal my opportunity. At Horizon Media, the atmosphere was equally tense. Sienna's manager, Rachel, was briefing a heavy-set man. Mr. Sterling, this Apex Corporation is a ghost. We can't locate anything about the owner. All we know is they have unlimited capital. They paid cash for the property. Marcus Sterling, the CEO behind Sienna Blake, tapped his desk thoughtfully. Intriguing. A new player in the market. He paused. Contact them. Tell them Marcus Sterling wants to establish a relationship. I'm hosting a gala at the Plaza Hotel tonight. Request their CEO's attendance. Back at Riverside Heights, I was gardening with Maya. The sun was warm, the breeze gentle. Maya wore a floral dress, looking like something from a painting. This was the life I wanted. My phone rang. Shadow's voice, Lord Titan. Marcus Sterling and Elena Cross are both requesting meetings. Oh. I smirked. Desperate already. Decline Elena. Tell Marcus Sterling I'll attend the gala, but I'm bringing my wife. Yes, sir. I hung up and embraced Maya from behind. Wife, interested in attending an event tonight? Maya froze. An event? I don't know. I've never been to high society gatherings. You're Mrs. Hale. You belong anywhere you choose to be. I touched her cheek gently. Don't worry. I'll handle everything. But I don't have anything appropriate to wear. Simple solution. I snapped my fingers. 30 minutes later, a top-tier styling team arrived. Leading them was Isabella, a legend in the fashion industry. Boss, Isabella said, bowing respectfully. Maya was stunned again. Racks of designer gowns and jewelry cases filled the room. Isabella, my wife needs to shine tonight. Make it happen. Consider it done, boss. Isabella studied Maya carefully. She has perfect bone structure, genuine natural beauty. 2 hours later, the bedroom door opened. When Maya emerged, I stopped breathing. She wore a gown the color of deep ocean water, embellished with crystals that sparkled under the lights, haute couture perfection. Her hair was swept up elegantly, exposing her neck where a rare sapphire necklace rested. She looked like royalty. She tugged at the skirt nervously. Ryan, isn't this excessive? I walked over and kissed her hand. No. Tonight you're the most beautiful woman alive. The Plaza Hotel was buzzing with energy. Marcus Sterling had reserved the entire ballroom. The city's elite were desperate to glimpse the mysterious owner of Apex Corporation. Elena was there, sulking but determined. Sienna was there in a red dress with a dramatic slit, working the room strategically. The doors opened. The room went silent. A man in a sharp black suit walked in, holding the hand of a woman in an ocean-colored gown. The men radiated controlled power. The woman was breathtaking. Who is that? That dress, that's the limited edition Valentino. Those sapphires. Elena and Sienna saw us. Their faces froze in shock. Ryan. Why is he here? And is that Maya? Elena dropped her champagne glass. It shattered on the marble floor. She stared at my suit, at Maya's dress. Her brain short-circuited. Sienna was paralyzed. The loser she'd mocked yesterday was walking in like royalty, and the timid cousin was outshining her completely. Marcus Sterling saw me and rushed over, forcing a smile. Ah, Mr. Hale, you made it. An honor. He extended his hand. I ignored it. I looked down at Maya. Tired. Want to sit? I'm okay, Ryan, she whispered. I turned my cold gaze to Marcus. His hand hovered awkwardly in midair. The room went deadly quiet. I didn't shake his hand. I spoke to the assembled crowd. I'm here to deliver a message. From today forward, this city operates by my rules. The crowd gasped collectively. The audacity. Marcus's expression turned ugly. Mr. Hale, you're young. Don't overestimate your position. Who do you think you are? Who does he think he is? A voice shouted. A young man in an expensive shirt stumbled forward, Justin Sterling, Marcus's son, the local bully. My father invites you and you act superior. This is New York. Learn your place. He reached out to shove me. Crack. A slap echoed through the hall, but I didn't move. Marcus Sterling had slapped his own son so hard the boy spun and hit the floor. Then Marcus dropped to his knees. But he didn't just kneel, he collapsed in terror. Lord Titan. I didn't know. Forgive me. My son is an idiot. I deserve death. He started slapping his own face violently. Lord Titan. The name hit the room like a nuclear detonation. Apex Corporation was legitimate business. But Titan was a legend of the shadow world, the head of the most feared intelligence and security network on the planet. And he was Ryan Hale. Marcus was shaking uncontrollably. He knew what Titan meant. It meant he could disappear tonight and no one would ever find evidence. The room was silent as a tomb. Elena and Sienna went white. They looked at the men on his knees, then at me. The charity case was the king of shadows. I looked at them. I smiled, cruel and cold. Cousins. Interesting to see you again. The game has just begun. The silence in the ballroom was absolute. Elena grabbed a table for support, her legs turning to jelly. She couldn't speak. The prenup, the insults, everything replayed in her mind like a nightmare. Sienna was equally devastated. Her makeup was running from cold sweat. She remembered instructing her manager to pay me off. She realized now that her fame was meaningless to someone like this. I ignored them. I looked at Maya. She was wide-eyed, confused. Ryan, you. I'll explain at home. I led her out, leaving a room full of terrified elites and a sobbing Marcus Sterling behind. Back at Riverside Heights, Maya sat on the sofa, clutching a cup of tea. Ask, I said gently. Why do they call you Titan? What do you actually do? I own a company, I said, technically truthful. It's substantial internationally. People gave me a nickname. It sounds intimidating to discourage competitors. Just a nickname. Maya searched my eyes. But Mr. Sterling was terrified. He has questionable business practices. He knows I have access to information. It was thin, but Maya wanted to believe it. She relaxed slightly. I thought you were involved in something dangerous. Silly girl. I kissed her forehead. I just accumulated enough influence to protect you. My phone rang. Grandmother Margaret. You little troublemaker, she laughed weakly. Scared Marcus Sterling so badly he called me crying. You knew. Of course. I own the hotel. Good work. A Hale should have teeth. She paused. What about the girls? Strategic patience, I said. I'm going to take my time. The next day, the hammer dropped. Horizon Media was raided, tax evasion, coercion, contract fraud. The authorities shut it down. Marcus and Justin Sterling were arrested. Sienna Blake was ruined instantly. Her contracts were voided. The internet turned on her viciously. She locked herself in her apartment, watching her life disintegrate. Then her manager burst in. Sienna, a lifeline. Apex Corporation is acquiring Horizon. They requested to see you. Sienna's heart leaped. Ryan, does he still want me? Maybe he's just punishing me to make me submit. She jumped up to fix her makeup, hope rekindling. Meanwhile, Elena cross-watched the news, terrified. She knew she was next. Unless. The waterfront project, Apex needs a local developer. Get me a meeting with Apex, she screamed at her secretary. I don't care what it takes. We need that partnership. Both of them thought they still had leverage. They didn't realize they were just pieces on a board I'd already flipped over. I sat in my office at the newly acquired Horizon headquarters, watching the city skyline. Shadow stood silently by the door. They're here, Shadow said. Let them wait. I made them wait 4 hours. When I finally entered the conference room, Sienna had reapplied her lipstick multiple times, and Elena was pacing anxiously. When I walked in, Sienna immediately struck a pose. She wore a low-cut dress, attempting to summon the charm that had captivated millions of fans. Ryan, she purred, walking toward me. I knew you wouldn't really hurt me. You were just angry, right? Elena cut her off. Ryan, let's discuss business. Cross Capital is the ideal partner for the waterfront project. We're family, keep the opportunity in the house. I sat at the head of the table and propped my feet up. Family. I laughed. When I needed tuition assistance, who told me to get loans? When I broke my leg, who told the doctors not to give me proper treatment? Silence. I didn't bring you here to partner with you, I said softly. I brought you here to watch. I pressed a button on the remote. The screen on the wall illuminated. It showed the stock ticker for Cross Capital, plummeting rapidly. What did you do? Elena screamed. I shorted your stock and released the internal audits you tried to hide. The SEC is investigating now. Elena collapsed into a chair, face ashen. Then I looked at Sienna. And you? You think I want you? I threw a file on the table. These are chat logs between you and Justin Sterling. Mocking me, mocking Maya. Sienna froze, face draining of color. You're not getting a contract. You're getting blacklisted. No agency will represent you. Want to be a star? Go perform on street corners. I stood and buttoned my jacket. This is the price of arrogance. I walked out, leaving them sobbing in the conference room. I drove back to Riverside Heights. Maya was waiting at the door, warm light glowing in the window. Welcome home, husband, she smiled. I embraced her tightly. The demons of the past were gone. The revenge felt hollow ultimately. But this was real. I'm home, I whispered.